Hey, welcome back to another Patreon lesson. Today I'm going to be kind of finishing this little series I've been doing over the last couple months, just talking about decade-specific drum sounds. So today it's going to be based off a 90s kind of rock drum sound. And when I think about that, I think about like there's so many legendary bands in this kind of world. You know, obviously anything from like Nirvana to Oasis, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blink-182, and some of those more modern like punkier type bands started coming in at the later 90s and everything. So there's so many kind of bands that fit under this umbrella of this drum sound in that era, and even in like into the kind of early 2000s. I feel like this sound sort of carried its way over, which is why I'm not doing like a 2000s version. I feel like the 90s, it was kind of the cutoff of like this like the more specific, like heavily charactered sounds. I'm sure 10, 20 years from now, we'll be able to look back and see what it is now, what we're currently living in. But as of right now, I feel like there's so much different kinds of music that I can't really identify in the present of like what will be the 2010s, sound. So when I think about this drum sound, I kind of think about something that's more like bright, attack heavy, and open, and slightly aggressive, but also just kind of a natural like picture of a good sounding drum set in a room, but captured in kind of a more hi-fi way, with plenty of mics and just kind of letting the openness and the top end of everything kind of speak naturally. And so that's kind of what I went for with this sound. So as usual, I'm going to show you a playing portion with all the processing and everything on it, and then I'll cut to the explanation of sitting at the kit, talking about an ideal space to record this type of drum sound, choices for drums, heads and stuff, and then talk about mic placement. And then we'll come back and jump in the session so I can run down the tracks and just show you the different processing that I did. All right, so I'm going to talk now about just how I think about the drums in the space, the drum choice, and the mic positions for this 90s drum sound. All right, so that's my approach to the 90s drum sound. If you've got any questions, if something I said needs a little more explanation, or if I just missed something, feel free to reach out and let me know, and I'll be happy to try to answer that for you. This is going to be kind of, like I said, the end of this decade-specific drum sound series. I lost my train of thought there for a second. And so I think now, after this lesson, I'm going to be jumping into some more kind of specific topics. So there'll likely be a little bit shorter videos, maybe a few more videos, but just shorter videos in a month of time. Just diving a little bit more specifically into like really specific topics about different, drum production and recording technique stuff. So if you've got any feedback for me on these lessons, I'd love to hear it. So when I start doing more of these type again, I'll have that. I've always tried to kind of do these in the most efficient, but still in-depth way that I'm not like missing a bunch of things that you would want to ask. And just trying to be in depth with it, but also not be too long-winded. So it's kind of hard to find that balance, but I'm doing my best. So if you've got any feedback on that, feel free to let me know. And if not, I'll see you next time.